The belief that all members of each race possess characteristics or abilities specific to that race, especially so as to distinguish it as inferior or superior to another race or races. Baron Glass, host of the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, each and every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the number one global 24-hour radio station, WMAD. Join my co-host April Ayala and I as we make an attempt to bring this evil system and a way of life for some to the forefront and have an open discussion with civility and honesty with hopes of minimizing this problem that has affected so many lives. We ask that you join us. We all can make a change, and we surely can make a difference.
It's time to take back control of our society. Today's world requires an open and honest discussion about the current events. On the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, our goal is to engage people from different walks of life into a healthy discussion, creating a positive outcome. When it comes to global events, tune in to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass on Monday nights at 7:30. We don't just listen to the news, we bring you the news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, broadcasting live at about 7:13 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to talk today about no one is born a racist. And at the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, we believe specifically in that comment that no one is born a racist. They are taught to be a racist. There's never been a good reason to believe that human beings, in my opinion, are naturally a racist. After all, in the environment of human evolution, which didn't feature, for example, jet travel to other continents, there would have been virtually no encounters between groups that had different skin colors or other conspicuous physical differences. So it is not as if the human lineage could have plausibly developed by evolutionary adaptation and instinctive reaction to members of different races. Nonetheless, people who want to argue that racism is natural have tried to buttress their position with evidence that racism is in some sense biological, which, again, that is debatable. We know that studies have found that when whites see black faces, there's an increased activity in a part of the brain structure associated with emotions and specifically with the detection of threat. Whatever power that kind of argument ever had, in my opinion, which wasn't much, since the fact that psychological reaction has a biological correlate doesn't tell you whether the reaction is innate. It has even less power now in 2015. From the moment a woman conceives a child, she and her husband have responsibilities to take care of that child. Despite the pains a mother goes through to deliver her lovely, adorable child, there's nothing tougher than raising a child, in my opinion. Part of the responsibilities is to ensure the child safety, that the child is healthy, that the child grows up to be respectful, that the child is educated and disciplined. But how disciplined are children these days in 2015? If you look at the news, you see it on a daily basis. If you look at Ferguson, Missouri, you see it. If you look at Baltimore, Maryland, you see it. If you look in your local communities, you see it. If you go to the courthouse on a daily basis, you see it. A child under the control of his parents, they learn what he or she sees and speaks the language, what he or she hears. Lessons that adults teach a child is what sticks in the mind of that child. When a mother tells her child not to play with black or white kids, that's exactly what the child will try to avoid. Ask the child why he isn't playing with those black or white kids. Don't surprise to be heard here. My mother says I shouldn't play with black kids. I shouldn't play with white kids. I shouldn't play with Mexican kids. Let's get away from all of that jive and all of that BS and all of that other stuff, because what that does, that divides this country rather than unites this country. Now, we just passed Memorial Day, and everybody seemed to be on one accord. But the day after Memorial Day, we go back to the same old nitpicking, the bickering, the race baiting, and all that other kind of stuff. Here at the Smoking Glass Hour, we try to make sure that we dispel any and all rumors regarding racism, whether you're black, white, red, brown, purple, green, or whatever. Here's the deal. Instead of teaching a child how to love, many adults today pollute the minds of their children. By the time they reach teenage years, some become dangerous racists on the street, in the workplace, on the police force, in all other places that are allowed to have an individual to be there. The reason I believe that racism, hatred, and discrimination never ends, causing unrest and bloodshed daily in our society, in our lives, in our community, in our country, and abroad. Children are the most beautiful thing on earth. Whether you believe that or not, that's your opinion. My opinion is that children are the most beautiful things on this earth. They, in my opinion, are the future leaders of tomorrow, the millennials. Okay? They therefore need proper manners to know the right from the wrong and healthy minds to create a better society. And all of that is contingent upon you, the parent, how you teach your child how they should act and react in society. If you receive good instruction as a child, you can be at peace with your neighbors, okay? I hope and pray that all the parents that are listening and the sound of my voice will train up your child in the way they should go. And that is a wise quote that we all know where it originates from. Now, when we look at racism and prejudice, we know that it is a negative or hostile attitude and or an opinion or a feeling toward a person or a group formed without adequate knowledge, thought, or reason, and based on negative stereotypes. Prejudice is the result of a prejudgment and often leads to, guess what? Discrimination, folks. No one is born prejudiced. No one is born a racist. Prejudice is learned and can be unlearned. Prejudices are attitudes rooted in ignorance and a fear of differences. Whether the seeds are planted around the dinner table, on the playing field, by the water cooler in a boardroom, guess what? They can grow out of control. Even worse, when not uprooted, prejudice get passed on from one generation to the next and can fuel discrimination, victimization, bigotry, and end up as a result of hate. With awareness, education, and action, we can weed them out in 2015. It's time for people to step up to the plate, get with the program, and start talking diversity. Community leaders, students, and teachers who participate in the Anti-Defamation Leagues, which is a World of Differences Institute programs, repeatedly ask us for specific ideas on how to encourage others to take up the fight against hate, against racism, against prejudice, so forth and so on. In response to their request, I have tried to develop with citizens an action guide. Okay, we're going to try to create a web page that you can follow. You will be able to find a wealth of creative approaches and solutions you can apply to your community, to your school, to your home, to your workforce, so forth and so on. Okay, we're going to also include important factual information to help you distinguish between incidents motivated by hate and hate crimes punishable by law, as well as a glossary of terms to establish a common language. Yes, in 2015, at the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, we are on the move in a positive direction. Now, if we look at building a prejudice-free zone in your home, okay, here's one of the things you can do. Know your roots and share your pride and your heritage with others outside of your own race. Celebrate holidays with extended families. We ask that you use such opportunities to encourage storytelling and share personal experiences across each generation with other generations that have no earthly idea where you're coming from. How about this? Invite friends from different backgrounds from your own to experience the joy of your tradition and your customs. Be mindful of your language. Avoid stereotypical remarks and challenge those made by others, even if they are your friend, even if they are your family member, even if they are your best friend. In any environment which you come in contact with, it is incumbent upon you to dispel any myths about racism, about prejudice, about hate, about so forth and so on. Speak out against jokes and slurs that target people or groups. Silence sends a message that you are in agreement. It is not enough to refuse to laugh. So when you hear this the next time, please be mindful that at some point, if you don't say nothing, either you are a part of the problem or you are a part of the solution. Depends on, you never straddle a fence, especially if it's a barbed wire fence, because if you fall, guess what? Plan family outings to diverse neighborhoods in and around your community and visit local museums, galleries, and exhibits that celebrate art forms of different cultures. Let's take, for instance, Black History Month. Step outside of your box. Step outside of your element. Get to know somebody else. When you see a stranger in a coffee house, go up and be very pleasant. Open up a conversation with this person. And if you don't agree with what they're saying and you don't understand the life that they are living or the shoes that they are wearing, rather than say something and make yourself look ignorant or insensitive to that person's need, just sit there and go home and mull on it. You might, in fact, learn something from that. Let's look at building a prejudice-free zone in your school. Parents, recite some things like a pledge or a similar pledge against prejudice created by your student body at a school-wide assembly. Allow your students to create their own poems, because we know now that with the internet, with iPads, with smartphones, students can create a whole lot of things that would be beneficial to their classroom, to their particular group of people that they deal with on a daily basis. In other words, give a kid a chance and the opportunity to prove that they are responsible enough to do what you're asking them to do. Display a poster-sized version of the pledge in a prominent area of your school and encourage people to sign it. If you are for diversity, sign it. Say that I am for diversity. If you are against diversity, then you are not needed when it comes to diversity. If you are for right, sign the pledge. If you stand for wrong, go back in your hole until you learn what right is. Okay, establish a diversity club that serves as an umbrella at your school or organization to promote harmony and respect, okay, for differences of other people. Reach out to the sports team. How about reach make the community, or at least hope the community will become involved. Initiate classroom discussions of terms such as anti-Semitism, racism, sexism, homophobia, and biases. Then compose a list of definitions and post it in a prominent place in the school building. Invite a motivational speaker who is a recognized civil or human rights leader to address any and all school assembly. Videotape the speech and publish an interview with the speaker in the school and local newspapers. Organize an essay contest whose theme is either a personal experience with prejudice or success stories in a fight against it, Suggest that the winning entries be published in your school newspaper, feature it in your town newspaper, highlight it on a local cable program, and guess what? The Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass will broadcast you live. We will bring you on one-on-one and let you talk about what you're doing in your community. Or send it to some other public official's office. How about create an anti-prejudice slogan for your school that could be printed as a bumper sticker and sold in a wider community to raise funds for these efforts? Okay, how about hold a Rock Against Racism or a concert or a dance-a-thon, a bike-a-thon, a car wash, or a battle of the bands, and donate the proceeds from ticket sales to underwrite diversity training and other programs for the school? Let's not be dismayed. Racism does exist. It exists wherever you are, and because you don't see it does not mean that it does not exist. So I need to make sure that I dispel that rumor, because you may hide in a corner. Other people that are out in the public experience it every day. As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine that stays in Caldwell Parish that indicated to me that he grew up in a home that was racist. And he knew by the 8th grade that something was just wrong with the way he was being taught. Guess what? He changed his mind. He changed his attitude. This young man is a Christian. He's about 19 or 20 years old now, and he is a very good friend of mine. He's a Republican. He has his own beliefs, and he is absolutely against racism. How about invite your district attorney, your police chief, or a representative from the Attorney General's office to speak to your school about civil rights, hate crimes, and other legal aspects to fight against prejudice. Designate a wall space on or near school grounds where graffiti with a harmonious and unified message can be written, drawn, or painted. Let's look at how about publishing a newsletter specifically devoted to promoting respect for diversity and publicizing multicultural events. Try to have your local newspaper or community internet homepage to do the same. Encourage representation of all students on every school board, committee, group, and publication and team. This is it takes a village to raise a child. And we're talking about including everybody in this village. We're talking about creating a rainbow that cannot be separated by hate and division. Here's another thing. You can poll your teachers about their ethnic, culture background and experiences, and their experiences with prejudice. Ask each to write a short paragraph on the subject that can be compiled along with photos in a teacher mug book. School is out. You can come up with all types of programs that would be very, very, very beneficial to your student body. Again, we know that racism does exist. We know that it is an evil system that arrived from the Willie Lynch speech. You pitched the young slave against the old slave. You pitched the male against the female. You pitched the light skin against the dark skin. And this goes on for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. And if you don't believe it, all you got to do is use your computer or get your child to go out and Google the Willie Lynch speech on the banks of the James River, and you'll get the understanding of what I'm talking about. Me personally, I do not like racism under any standpoint, whether it's black on black, I like it. And I don't have a problem dispelling any of this information, because I try to make sure that these things will not happen in the presence of me, in the presence of my friends, so forth and so on. So let's look at maybe Friday. Let's look at random acts of kindness. Let's look at things that will be different. Let's look at maybe being at the drive-thru at McDonald's, something like about paying for their cup of coffee or leaving a $5 bill or whatever the case may be, so that individual person meal can be paid for. It's called a random act of kindness. We had to do it at Delta State University when we were dealing with the community leadership program. As a result of that, Mississippi, 55 counties and parishes, and we had a wonderful time there. And I was able to ask a lot of questions about diversity, about racism. When I went to visit Nelson Mandela at Robben Island, where he was housed at, there was a lot of information that was obtained. It was a lot of things that we enjoyed. So again, we're asking for you to get involved, to make a difference, to stand by me, to look at things from a different standpoint. And again, remember, just because you have not seen it does not mean that it doesn't exist. Prime example, you never see air, but you know it exists. Okay, prime example. We know that things happen that are outside of our element. As a result of that, we don't know what's going on. So again, get involved, become proactive. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pause and play a little Keith Franks, Don't Forget About Me, because every time you hear somebody say something about race, I'm going to ask that you don't forget about what's going on. You have been listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. It's about 7:33 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please stay tuned.
Now we're gonna take you back, y'all. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, George. Do it, George. Do it now. Yeah, you're right. Oh, darling, I'm so lonely without you. And I can't sleep at night, always thinking about you. Oh, darling, please let me come back home. 'Cause your love means so much to me, baby, and I just can't stay away too long. Yeah, toi.
Racism, the belief that all members of each race possess characteristics or abilities specific to that race, especially so as to distinguish it as inferior or superior to another race or races. Baron Glass, host of the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, each and every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the #1 global 24-hour radio station, WMAD. Join my co-host April Ayala and I as we make an attempt to bring this evil system and a way of life for some to the forefront and have an open discussion with civility and honesty with hopes of minimizing this problem that has affected so many lives. We ask that you join us. We all can make a change, and we surely can make a difference.
We are back broadcasting live with the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. We're talking tonight, No One is Born a Racist. You heard the sounds of the boss, Keith Franks, some Zydeco that's down up off in there. We know that Keith Franks is a friend of the Smoking Glass Hour. We had him on. We interviewed him. The guy's a very humble guy. So if you like some good Zydeco, listen to some Keith Franks, the Zydeco boss. You can listen to some Chris Ardwayne. You can listen to some Brian Jack. You can listen to some Lil Nate and the Zydeco Ballers, so forth and so on. We know that information is out there on Zydeco. So if you want to listen to some good music, check out WMAD 24-hour global radio every day from Monday through Fridays at 11 o'clock p.m. We have a full hour of Zydeco music. You can reach us at www.thesmokingglasshour.com. You can listen to the player live again 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time to 12 o'clock noon. At 12 o'clock noon, we also air some NPR news, so we try to be as diverse as possible. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can listen to the sounds on the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass at WMAD 24-hour global radio. Now, I was just informed today that the Caldwell Parish librarian, Miss Mary Poole, will be retiring. So if there's anybody out there who know of a librarian that may be looking for a job, they can contact, I believe, the library board. And I got this information hot off the press from a colleague of mine, Dr. John Robertson. Again, Dr. John Robertson. We're looking at about 26 minutes on the backside of this interview. We got about 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. We're going to go it on rundown. Tomorrow night, yes, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, we're talking live local politics with the candidates who are running for sheriff in Caldwell Parish and the clerk of court. Again, those individuals who have submitted their information to me is Ms. Lauren Young and Mr. David May. I have not received information from Mr. Mitch Bratton. I have not received information from Mr. Clay Bennett, Mr. Courtney Dunn, Mr. Greg Richardson, Ms. Cherie Cox, Ms. Dina Domain, and some other individuals out there. Now, I will not be out there running to get this information. I have asked for this information to be given to me, and if I don't have it by tomorrow afternoon, this broadcast, the show will go on live, and I will feature those two individuals, Mr. David May and Miss Lauren Young. Again, running for local sheriff race, we have Clay Bennett, we have Mitch Bratton, we have Hank Balls, we have Courtney Dunn, we have Tony Childers, and I believe, hot off the press, Mr. David Crane is going to be running. For the clerk of court, we have Mr. David May, we have Miss Dina Domain, we have Miss Lauren Young, we have Miss Cherie Cox, and Mr. Greg Richardson, and I believe, hot off the press, Miss Mary Wiley, longtime educator, is interested in the race as well. I have gotten that confirmed by reliable sources. It's not third-party information. I will only provide information that have been specifically given to me or someone directly associated with me and the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass and or WMAD 24-hour global radio. Now, we also have excellent advertising packets that are offered to each individual candidate. We have live 24-hour videos that you can post up as far as your advertising. And it's relatively cheap for the amount of money. I'll give you a prime example. You can get one advertising packet, $100 advertising packet, and you can get about 80 to 120 spots depending on whether you go 30, 45 minutes or a minute. Again, do not be fooled by internet streaming radio, because there are people out there who are listening to this broadcast as of right now. They can chat with me. I can see them when they come in. I can see you when you log in. So I do know for a fact that there are listeners out there. Again, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, we're talking local politics with local candidates. If you have a candidate that's out there of your choice and they have not submitted me their bio to be read live tomorrow night on this show, then it's going to be a sad day for them, because I look at this as free advertising. You're not paying a nickel. Me being an elected official, I am only doing this as a courtesy, because I know money sometimes can hinder individual candidates from getting their message out to the general public. And guess what? I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. I have people to email me. And remember, I have people that inbox me. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, any other social media outlet that's out there. And remember this last thing, I got about 30 seconds left. If you're going negative, you're going to automatically lose the race, because I have had many people from the black community, along with the professional community and the white community, those who associate themselves with me, have indicated that they do not want to hear anything negative about a candidate. They want to know specifically what it is that you're going to do if you are elected, and at some point in time, each individual candidate will have an opportunity to come live. You have been listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass on WMAD 24-Hour Global Radio. Thank you.